While I'm speaking to you today, and if I look at my watch, it tells me that the pollution levels are 454, above 400 marks or 600 at some places. This is among the most polluted days of the year. The AQI count in many places is over 400. Take a look at Mundka, where it is 446, and this is keep coming. 434 in Rohini and other places of the national capital as well. More than 400 in most of the places, the PM 2.5 count. The air pollution map also shows you how dense this pollution is, not only just in Delhi, but across in the NCR region, in the northern India. Many cities are also suffering like the national capital. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is the worst time that the government or the agencies could have decided to, in fact, revoke Grap-3 restrictions which were put because the air pollution was very, very high. Just a day after the Grap-3 the levels or the graded response systems mechanisms have been withdrawn, it makes you wonder who is actually looking at all these things and what is the logic behind the people, those who are supposed to work for our relief, whether it's the central government or the state government or even the courts. It seems that all our agencies, all our authorities have failed to resolve this entire mess. People of Delhi are left on their own. We have been left to fend for ourselves. Some of us who have at least the option of going into air purified houses can still, in fact, limit the impact that it is having on us. But what about millions, those who are on the streets? People have been left to die. It's a slow suicide. I'm sorry I'm using these words, but that is exactly how it is. A Gangaram study, hospital study, tells you that young people, men and women, are falling prey to lung cancer, and 70% of them in the national capital do not even smoke. This is the most alarming thing that I have read and heard about in the last few days. All we can do, because our authorities have nothing to offer to us as far as the air pollution is concerned, pray to the gods for rains. Because we can't even pray for the rains to our authorities, because that whole drama, the gimmick of the artificial rain, that has also failed. There is nothing, it seems, that anybody is interested in when it comes to pollution. Whether it's the Chief Minister of Delhi, Rekha Gupta, Environment Minister, Mr. Sirsa, he will come on programs and they will say we are doing XYZ. Where is the impact? Or Bhupendra Yadav, the Environment Minister, this is his Twitter timeline. And I have been going through his Twitter timeline. The minister seems to be missing in action. Why isn't this a national emergency where the minister should have called, in fact, all the stakeholders, try to work on war footing? We also live in this, but the problem is for the ministers and the government servants and all the MLAs, MPs, they are possibly living with 2,000 or 200 air purifiers. Who cares? They have air purifiers to save them. But what about the people? Look at this. As I said, there hasn't been anything worth air pollution which has been mentioned by the minister in the last few days, barring a plantation drive that he spoke about. Even if you start planting millions of trees across the national capital, it's not that tomorrow it is going to have any impact as far as the air pollution is concerned. I also want to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that when you look at the data, the farm fires compared to last year, whether it's Punjab, it's Haryana, have come down. The farm fires have gone up in places like Uttar Pradesh. Just take a look, because they keep saying that it is the farm fire effect. In Punjab, comparative to the last year, there have been a 50% drop as far as the farm fires are concerned. Now, take a look at Haryana. In Haryana as well, the farm fires have been lowest in many years, 642, which have been recorded. Apart from that, there have been instances where the farm fires in Uttar Pradesh and Madhya Pradesh are rising, but because of the wind direction in Rajasthan and all, it is largely not impacting India. The hotspots are shifting to east. But despite the dip, the air pollution in the national capital continues. Farm smoke, as per the data, contributes to less than 5% of the total pollution that you and I are inhaling. Only 8 days it has been above 10%. Most days has been less than 5%. And just one day, its contribution has been over 20%. So these are factors that are controllable. Why is it that some of these factors are not being controlled by the state authorities, by the government, both at the center and the state, is absolutely beyond anybody's grasp. Last year was far worse, but look at the impact it is having on us. What are the reasons? Weak winds that trap pollutants, that is a natural phenomena. But what is the other factors that are contributing to this? Ladies and gentlemen, whether it is the vehicular pollution or the fumes that vehicle fumes are rising, there is no policy as far as the vehicles are concerned in the national capital. Industrial smoke is constant. We only talk about the industries being shut in Delhi. What about the areas near Delhi? Dust adds to the thick load of pollution of the PM 2.5 and PM 10 particles, and waste burning has been one of the major factors in Delhi. These are the issues. Where is the solution? We don't know. Vimlendu Jha has been continuously shouting at the top of his lungs, in whatever capacity he can. He's an environmentalist as far as pollution is concerned. Dr. Neetu Jain is also joining us to try and understand the impact this is having on the people. Vimlendu, I want to come to you first. Whether it's the Prime Minister's office, the Environment Minister, the Chief Minister, Lieutenant Governor, Environment Minister of Delhi, so many top offices who, if they have the will, can make an impact. Why is it that we have been left to fend for ourselves, Vimlendu?
So exactly what you said, the reason why we are in such a mess is because our political class is completely missing in action. As you rightly said, most of the country doesn't even know who the Environment Minister of India is. As I call him an election lieutenant rather than the Environment Minister. In fact, everywhere through the year, 365 days, he's busy winning elections for a particular political party rather than looking at this air emergency, which is in grave situation. In fact, the only thing that the current dispensation has done, in fact, I'm saying that the previous governments also had failed miserably in some way or the other, blaming the other. And this one is one step ahead and actually is saying that there's no pollution at all. If you hear the BJP spokesperson speak, and for the last 15, 20 days, first, they said there's no pollution at all. We are better than last year. Second, what they've been doing is that they've been turning off the air quality monitors in peak hours of pollution and sprinkling water on most of these monitoring stations, and then tell you that, listen, sprinkling water doesn't really affect. So there cannot be anything worse than air quality mess or the air emergency that we are in both in terms of mortality and morbidity. And
yes,
there could not be anything easier than this to be solved, because we know the problem, but we only keep treating the symptoms rather than the source of pollution. And that's the reason why we are in this mess for almost 10 to 15 years.
Absolutely. We suffered under the last government, which promised. We are suffering now. At that point of time, at least the excuse that they had was that we are not being supported by the center. Now, from the top position to every, in fact, head of the government of every body is from one political party. Even then, the people of this city, of this entire region, have been left to fend for themselves. Dr. Neetu Jain, I want to understand from you, because it's an alarming study that has been done by Sir Gangaram Hospital, and I was reading through that. It said that young people between the age of 18 to 38, and many of them are the cases which are coming, reporting lung cancer cases, 70% of them do not even smoke. This is an alarming health emergency.
You see, about 10 years ago, or maybe even earlier, when I was working at AIMS, we found one patient who was 30 years old with lung cancer, and it was amazing. And we were all very upset that how can a young person get lung cancer? But now we are seeing lung cancer more commonly in younger people, and actually they are right, they are not even smoking, so they are getting lung cancer because of other reason. One of the most important reason may be air pollution, and air pollution in Delhi is such that it is equivalent to smoking about 20 to 50 cigarettes per day. So without even smoking, without even doing self harm, they are suffering from something which is beyond their control, and it is contributing so much to health of the people, not only lung health, not only causing lung cancer, but also leading to involvement of other organ, leading to heart attacks, leading to stroke. So this is definitely a very, very alarming study, and this is a very, very alarming situation, and everybody who is living in Delhi NCR is suffering from it and keep on suffering from it every year, because there doesn't seems to be any resolution of the situation at all.
Absolutely. I mean, as I said, I'm sorry to use these words, but we are being forced to commit slow suicide if you are inhaling this poisonous air in the national capital. Vimlendu, very quickly in conclusion, I just want to ask you this. There is so much talk about farm fires that it happens in winters. It only, as I said, contributes to less than 5% on most days. Only once in this season it has contributed to more than 20% as far as the pollution in the national capital is concerned. There seems to be zero policy when it comes to the vehicular pollution, zero policy on industrial pollution. There hasn't been any effort made, only politics on farm pollution.
Absolutely. So, Ankit, you and I have done several shows. Before 2022, Aam Aadmi Party used to blame the farmers of Punjab. And now, after that, they are in power. BJP has learned from their textbook and is blaming the farmers. Reality is that farm fires only happens for 4 weeks to 6 weeks. And the contribution of farm fires to ambient air quality of Delhi NCR could range from 0% to perhaps 25% on any given day, only for that period. And as you rightly said, overall, if you look at the annual load, it's less than 4%. Ankit, I should tell you, last 2-3 days, I've actually been in Varanasi, and the air quality index of the Prime Minister's constituency ranges from 200 to 350. We know that there's a lot of attention because Delhi is the capital, but the problem is not just of Delhi's capital. It's of Delhi NCR. It's also of North India. It's also of Indo-Gangetic Plain, and also studies that show that 90% of India's air is actually poor. And that's the reason why, rather than looking at a particular chief minister or a particular political party, it's the Prime Minister's office that needs to step in and think of this as the biggest thing that's actually killing India and pulling the country down.
I think it needs to be done on war footing. The environment minister needs to sit down with all stakeholders across North India. All of us are suffering, some cities more than the others. But the fact remains, ladies and gentlemen, this is an air emergency. And the more we talk about it, hopefully one day there is going to be that slumber that our authorities are going to wake up from. And there is going to be some concerted effort on that. Please, 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 if you are in Delhi, if you are in cities which are polluted, wear a mask when you go out. I still see people not wearing a mask. You are doing massive harm to yourself and to your lungs.